A little while ago I reviewed the Sensereo MSC-1, a matter over thread smoke alarm designed for your smart home. But today I'm looking at the MSC-1. And they've taken some big leaps already with this second device. Because this doesn't just detect smoke, it also detects carbon monoxide. And that's pretty important because while smoke alarms protect you from fires, carbon monoxide is the silent danger you can't see, smell or hear. Thousands of people die worldwide every year from carbon monoxide poisoning, often in their own homes. So having protection against both really matters. This is a device that can genuinely save your life in more ways than one, so let's open it up and see how it performs. Hi, I'm James and I've been building out my smart home for years, with products from just about every manufacturer out there, figuring out what works and what doesn't. So, what's new? As I mentioned, the biggest difference compared to the MS1 is that it's now a combined smoke and carbon monoxide detector. So instead of installing separate devices for each, you get a photoelectric smoke detector and an electromechanical carbon monoxide detector all in one unit. And for growing smart home setups, that's much easier to set up and maintain. Now onto placement. It's really important if you want the fastest possible detection of smoke or carbon monoxide. For smoke, you ideally want the alarm on the ceiling, since smoke rises, and for carbon monoxide, it mixes with the air, so ceiling or wall mounting both work pretty well. But you should ideally place it in or near bedrooms, on each level of your home, and away from kitchens or bathrooms to avoid false alerts. So if you're combining both in one device like this, ceiling mounting in a hallway or near the sleeping areas is usually the best compromise for early detection of both carbon monoxide and smoke. So far I've been using this with both Apple Home and Home Assistant, and it integrates really nicely into both ecosystems via Matter over Thread. You get separate entities for smoke, carbon monoxide, the battery level and the alarm states. But you do get to see a little bit more in Home Assistant as usual, as you can also adjust the sensitivity. And this means you can set up some pretty advanced and potentially life-saving automations. For example, in Home Assistant I already had an automation where if smoke was detected, the lights would all turn on to light our pathway out of the house. And now I've added another check in there, so if carbon monoxide is detected, it automatically opens my lounge and bathroom windows, opens my kitchen skylight, and sends me a critical notification. These are all things that a traditional detector simply could not do. It doesn't just alert you, but it can help to actively ventilate your home, giving you time to see the alert and get to safety. And this is where this device really stands out. Smoke alarms are essential, but carbon monoxide is often the more dangerous risk in some ways, since it's invisible, odourless, and can build up without you even noticing. So having both sensors in one device means you are protected against a whole host of circumstances like fires, faulty boilers, blocked flues, gas appliance issues, and even just poor ventilation. It's not just about convenience, it's about broader safety coverage. Another thing worth mentioning here is the battery setup. The MSC1 now uses replaceable batteries, which is really nice from a lifespan perspective. The MS1 by comparison had a sealed main battery, with only the communication battery being replaceable. So you couldn't keep the device going indefinitely by yourself before. You'd have to buy a whole new one in 7 years. But here, being able to replace the batteries means you can potentially keep the device running for much longer without replacing the whole unit. This model also adds a display which shows real-time carbon monoxide levels, the battery and alarm status. It's a small addition but very useful, especially for quickly checking things without having to open the app first, and those few seconds could be critical for getting out of the house to safety. In day-to-day use, the experience is very similar to the MS1. You get fast responsiveness with Thread, which means local control, very reliable alerts, and a generally clean integration with Matter. Now, I did have someone ask about reliability in my previous video on the MS1, and since these are not devices that you look at or use every day, it's kind of tough to see how reliable it is. So I created an automation which notifies me if it goes offline for more than a minute or so, and naturally added this new device to that automation so I could compare them. And I can confirm that I do get semi-regular but often very brief dropouts from both. But interestingly, I almost always get both go offline at the same time. So it's highly likely that when this is happening, There's actually an issue with my thread network as a whole rather than these devices individually. I will likely add more devices to this automation to try and confirm that, and if I figure out how to fix my thread network stability overall, I'll definitely make a video on that, so make sure that you're subscribed to see it. So what are the downsides? There are still a couple of things to be aware of. Number one, these smoke alarms don't directly interlink with each other, so if you want to be alerted anywhere in your home, even out of earshot, then you'll have to rely on notifications and automations. And number two, like the MS-1, this is battery powered rather than wired, which is much easier for installation but may not meet your local requirements. And this will mean that you have one more battery to maintain. And so the verdict. I think if you're considering a smart smoke alarm, and especially if you're deciding between the MS-1 and this, I'd go straight for the MSC-1. You get smoke detection, carbon monoxide detection, loads of smart home automation opportunities, properly replaceable batteries, and even a built-in display. And most importantly, protection from multiple types of life-threatening hazards, even if you don't do anything with the smart features. This is not just a typical smart home gadget, it's a device that you can genuinely use to protect you and your family from the worst. So, what do you guys think? Would you automate the ventilation like I have in Home Assistant, or just use it for alerts on your phone? Let me know down in the comments, and as always, if you would like to pick one up, the link will be in the description below and on my website. All that's left to say is thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember, home is where the smart is.